Winmar Liberatore started the match. Footscray kicking with the breeze. It's substantial. Vidovic and Wine. A free kick immediately from the centre. And it's coming back to Coleman at centre half forward. So Coleman to put Footscray deep into attack. Hawkins at the back. Still with Hawkins. Now Del Rey, who's been in spectacular form, to Grant. Early goal to Footscray. What a start.
It's just the start they want. Footscray. A free kick being paid there to Coleman at centre half forward. I didn't actually pick up what that free kick was for. And Hawkins contesting the ball, going to the ground, and Del Rey, intelligent handball to Chris Grant, who's been picked up by David Grant at half back, centre half forward. And it's just the start that Footscray wanted.
Back to the centre. Wine versus Vidovic. Oh, the knees went out. Callett tries to tap it out. Mansfield lying over the ball. Mick Dwyer is in there, and the umpire will come in and bounce again. This is umpire Dennis Rich, and you can see by his hair the breeze blowing right to left very, very strongly. Vidovic and Wine again. Big Wine in after it. The umpire's found a free. This time will go the way of the Saints. I think Newport is going to receive this. Steve Newport with the job on Atkins to the half-forward line. It's thumped away, a holding decision, and it will go the way of the Bulldogs. It'll go to Stephen Cretiuk.
Cretiuk from half-back up towards half-forward. A lot of distance there.
That's a free kick.
Free kick to Grant. Is that 50?
That's 50.
Gee, that's foolish, isn't it?
That was very, very silly and undisciplined play then by Davenport to knock the ball out of his hands. He was caught off. Collingwood had run, and he was trying to slow the play down, but that's given Grant a real chance now to kick a goal from about 20 metres out.
Second in a couple of minutes. The 19-year-old young champion at Footscray with an opportunity to put the Dogs 12 points in front within a couple of minutes. He's missed it. Made a real meal of it in the end. So 1-1 to Grant, and that's the score.
Well, a bad miss from there, even though it's windy. He had the breeze behind him. Shouldn't miss them from there. Jamie Shanahan to bring it back into play. Kicking into that. Oh, look at the wind hold that up. In towards half order. The mark to Coleman. No free kick in the meantime. It'll go the way of the Saints. A push in the back. Well, Russell Morris. Now Morris with the hand pass finds Devonport. Devonport, oh, he's not sure what to do with it. Oh, nearly caught. Ralph Smith mucking around with it. The Saints. Here's Grant. Knocks it on to Winmar. Great skill by Winmar. On to Newport. He's looking out there for Nathan Burke. On to Winmar again. Well played, Mansfield. Well, Liberatore did the shepherding. Here's Stephen Wallace. Back to Atkins. This is Baxter. Off and running. Baxter long in towards the pocket. It's all St.Kilda, and Sean Ralph Smith
that was
has
poor
taken
play
it.
then by Baxter. Del Rey was out there on his own. He should have hit him with that pass.
Morris on the defensive side of the centre square. Called to play on. Gives it away in a hurry. McAdam gets a free kick.
Morris wasn't aware that it was a play-on call then.
McAdam, low drop punt. Free kick to St Kilda again to Harvey, this time against Wallace. Just pushing off the football. Harvey, who was one of the big stars last week, goes short to Winmar.
That's an interesting matchup. Winmar's picked up Tony Liberatore.
Sweeps the handball to McAdam. 70 metres out, goes short. Lockett the target, all Atkins. One hand. Lockett. Caught by Campbell that time. Tui over the top. Lockett, Newport. And Dennis Rich comes in.
Yeah, it's a terrible one to have to go back for, isn't it? It's your heart's always in your mouth in that instance, but it's a final and you've got to commit yourself.
Yes, Atkins under the hammer there with Lockett closing. Wine versus Lockett. Free kick, Lockett. Too far out into the breeze. It's going to be hard for full forwards today. They're not going to see a lot of the football, you'd think, for half the match.
Gee, there wasn't much in that. Just body to body, really.
Wine's dropped back in the goal square. Low back there with Reynolds. Lockett goes very short. Want to kick it, unable to do so. Quick left foot by Mansfield. Doesn't go very far. Daniels, nice mark. Played very well last week. Devonport tries to get around Kellett, has trouble. Devonport taps it cleverly to Morris.
Oh, Morris is unloaded as he kicked it in towards half forward. Oh, the marker's dropped up there by Vidovic. He should have taken that one. It's tapped on towards the pocket. Here's Dale Kickett. He can't pick it up. It's fast and furious in this forward pocket. Oh, he was grabbed from behind. And the umpire calls play on, and it will be a bounce. And Russell Morris copped one very, very high and hard.
It was a meat and a sandwich here.
Oh, copped it from everywhere. Here's Liberatore out to Tui off the side of the boot. Atkins kicking with that strong breeze towards centre wicket. That's a good mark to Coleman.
Real finger-tipper in tough conditions. Coleman with a high one to the space. Delray being hurled. Shanahan only to McPherson. Should be able to use it round the body. Chance for Grant, misses that one. They're not going to be easy today. Collingwood looks for and gets a free kick. High tackle.
There's a high tackle. Now, Collingwood's been picked up by Devonport. Devonport is very loose in the back line. I thought that when they shifted him forward last week, they got a lot more out of him as a player. And he does play a very attacking role back there in the back line. And he's got to really tighten up. He's a long way off his man than Collingwood when Collingwood got the ball.
Should make the distance. Kicked a lot of goals early in the season, Collingwood. A real confidence player. 34 goals this season, including 6 against Carlton at the MCG. Mainly interchange last weekend against Geelong and never really got into the game. Drop punt. It's made the distance all right. Hits the post. So a couple of chances have gone begging for Footscray. That one not as easy as the Chris Grant one.
No, Chris Grant was a long way closer then. But, crikey, when you've got this strong breeze at your back, you've really got to make the most of it.
Jamie Shanahan to bring it back into play. Again, it holds up in that breeze. Grant is the flyer. Delray receives from McPherson. Danny Delray on the left foot. Brings it back to the square. Up they go. Shanahan in front. Good attempt. But it's a loose ball. Doug Hawkins. He went in hard after it. Here's Pekin. Now Liberatore. He gets in a quick hand pass. Hawkins caught. Gets his boot the ball. Doug Hawkins across the face. And out on the full, I would think. It is, as the boundary umpire, Nicky Winmar, to take that penalty kick.
Some good players should have taken that ball through earlier on before Hawkins had the chance to put the ball back into play and almost create something from absolutely nothing.
I agree. They took a big risk, Tim. Oh, good mark, Daniels. Very, very strong mark. Well judged.
It's taken a long time to establish himself in the team this year. Poor kick to Liberatore. Coleman did all right in the end because he was under pressure. Delray and Shanahan. Devonport. Burke goes in hard. Delray still with it. McPherson. Pekin beats him to it. Now McAdam. Quick hands to Devonport. Short kick. Looks for Morris. Gets him. That's pinpoint accuracy. And you've got to do that into the breeze today. It's going to be very difficult. It's a real shame, actually, that a finals has to be played in such difficult conditions. It's going to be a day of tactical battles today. Tui.
Good play.
Bit strong for Kickett on that occasion. Drop punt back to centre half forward. Delray stands his ground. Grant taps it forward. Grant, that's David Grant. So the two Grants playing on one another. Here's Mick Dwyer.
Mick Dwyer, very clever player. Not blessed with a lot of pace, a lot of skill. Low. I tapped it back cleverly to Fletcher. Fletcher lying over the ball, taps it on. Good umpiring to let it go. Well done, Mick Dwyer on the low. Now Fletcher. Tackle by Mansfield was excellent. Coming away with the ball is Stephen Crediuk. Good play by the halfback. Crediuk to half forward, and there's an excellent mark. Grant's on fire. Chris Grant. Hand pass to McPherson. An open goal looms. Steve McPherson bots it right through the middle. So Footscray starting off well. They've kicked their second goal, 2-2. Footscray, St Kilda yet to score.
That goal was started right back here on the half-back flank. Mansfield, Crediuk. Crediuk's a very good young player from St Albans. He's going to be around in league football for a long time. Getting the ball long and direct around centre half forward, and then the runners finishing it off.
Two Footscray. St Kilda yet to score. Wind and Vidovic. Vidovic's has been excellent in the second half of the season. Taken Wren and Monkhorst on of late. and has done well. Wallace's handball to Mansfield, caught by Winmar. No free kick there, allowed to go on.
Bruce Wallace has got the job on Harvey, and at this stage we haven't cited Harvey at all, so he's doing a pretty good job, although it's early days yet.
And Newport tagging Atkins, who gets that kick away to centre half forward. McAdam sweeps it back. Ralph Smith stops, props, changes direction. Left foot to Burke, finds him. Centre square, defensive side, plays on. Drop punt to centre half forward. Lowe versus Reynolds. Reynolds well played. Kellett dropped it. Looked for a free kick, didn't get it. Reynolds, Liberatore, left foot. These conditions made for Liberatore. Coleman unable to make it this time against Ralph Smith. Still Coleman. Being held on to, must get a free kick at centre wing, he does.
Well played by Glenn Coleman, an underrated player. Big Glenn Coleman. Formerly played with Fitzroy and the Sydney Swans. It's at half forward. Steve Wallace tries to shuffle it out to Collingwood. Desperation by the players. Steve Wallace lies on top of the ball, and the umpire will come in and bounce.
At this early stage, Footscray just look a little bit more desperate than St Kilda, a little bit harder at the ball, and they're winning the ball around the packs.
Well, they'd certainly realise the importance of this first term. Collingwood goes to ground. That was Vidovic trying to get his boot to it. There's Liberatore trying to crash his way. Almost went underground then, little Libber.
Yes, you'll always find him at the bottom of the pack.
There he is, Brownlow medalist, discarded by North Melbourne, and has proved himself a little champ out at Footscray. Still at half forward. Winmar went without it, but I think he was interfered with. He was, and a free kick going to the St Kilda champ, Nicky Winmar.
On Liberatore today, that looks like he'll be out on the fall. It is, Wynn grabbing hold of it. So disappointing result there for Winmar. Atkins, one of the Brownlow favourites, Channel 7 Footballer of the Year, kicks back towards half forward. Missed by Wallace. It was a difficult one. Tapped on cleverly to Liberatore. Unable to quite get it to McPherson. Cut off by Winmar. Now Harvey receives a handball and away. Left foot is good. Ralph Smith. Devonport. Low drop punt. Unable to time it correctly. Fletcher and Credihook. Fletcher was looking for a free. Kick it. High tackle. Free kick. It was very important last week, kick it. Out wide. Newport. Good mark. He's had a lot of finals experience, played in a grand final at Melbourne. Lockett the target, not a bad kick if it can. Well done, Tui. Now kick it. The tackle's okay. Lockett went to ground. Fletcher was behind him. Tony Campbell throws it away. Free kick to St Kilda. Oh no, yes, going to Lockett. I don't think Campbell realised that, and I don't think Lockett did either.
Well, the umpires haven't always been paying that as a throw this year, but it's definitely a throw when you move both hands in the motion of handballing, and it's got to be deemed a throw.
Well, if he kicks this, it'll be almost worth 2, wouldn't it? Oh, that looked like a handball, Tim.
No, you can't handball like that. That's upside down.
Well, this is going to test Lockett, as Peter said. If he can goal from here, it's going to be worth a real bonus to St Kilda. He's going to kick from about 48. Tui's on about 40. So we'll get an idea of the breeze. Lockett, drop punt. He's kicked it very well. Right there, but holding up. Wine was there with Reynolds. They thump it away. Winmar out of play. So, Tim, that gave us an idea. Lockett kicked that, I reckon, as well as he could possibly have.
Yes, it's a very strong breeze that they're kicking into. He did the best he could. He tried to keep the ball low, but even then it fell short.
Wine back in that side will make a big difference to Footscray too. Here's Stewie Lowe. Almost threw it out. Grabbed by Fletcher. Oh, good play, Fletcher. Good vision as he looks for Mick Dwyer. Dwyer back with the flight. But he certainly had seen Dwyer out of the corner of his eye and nearly found him.
Yes, he almost found him. It was going to be a pretty difficult shot from there for Mick Dwyer, though.
Now there's Stuart Lowe. Kick it. Oh, well played. Dale kick it. Back to Daniels. Daniels got to get it quickly onto his boot to half forward. Matthew Mansfield butters up and kicks it wide. The race is on. Nathan Burke will get there first. He's got it. Burke brings it across the ground. Jason Daniels. Daniels with a sweeping hand pass to Ralph Smith. He'll have to go back to the centre to Devonport. Devonport can go to Burke. Oh, he's trying to beat too many players, but he gets away with it. Back to Sean Ralph Smith. He should be kicking. Oh, he ran a long way. Touches it on the ground just in time. Brings it to the pocket. He's found Newport. And Newport should get this ball moving very quickly to Lockett. Now he is. The high floating kick. Oh, Lockett a chance to use his strength. There he is. Oh, he's too good, too strong.
That was the perfect kick then by Newport. Set it up in the air. Lockett positioned himself well, and Campbell was always in the wrong position to try and stop Lockett. Once you get on the wrong side of a big frame like that, with the wind pushing the ball back out towards him, he was in a hopeless situation then.
Well, Tony Lockett, this is a vital kick. It will be a real handy one into the strong breeze if you can kick this through. They're only 14 points down, St Kilda. So really, they've done fairly well when you consider it. And particularly if Lockett kicks this from directly in front. Big Tony Lockett kicks hard at the ball, and he goes. So the first goal of the game for the Saints, and all of a sudden they only trail by 8 points.
Yes, and a goal like that is really probably worth 3 or 4 kicking into this strong breeze. Footscray have had a lot of the play, but they haven't been able to put the score on the board.
So the Saints doing well into the breeze with that goal from Lockett. What a season he's had. Manswood out of the centre. Ralph Smith has been prominent early. Sweeps the handball effectively to Vidovic. To Daniels. The Saints marching on here. Short, looking for Kickett in the pocket. Just sat in the mud, the ball there.
That was a poor option to take then, though, Bruce. The ball, you've got to try and aim the ball back in towards the corridor and give your forward some sort of a chance. It's a difficult kick from that angle.
Lowe won the tap, straight to Liberatore. Quick left foot. Collingwood, Devonport. Off the ground, Collingwood. Grant and Grant. Still Chris Grant. Oh, Atkins. It was a hot handball and he missed it. Now caught. And it'll be a ball up, says Grant Vernon. Jason Daniels applying the tackle. Steve Newport trying to rip it off Atkins. And Steve McPherson, one of the strong men. That Footscray coming in with Gilbert McAdam.
She called it right, Bruce. It was a hot handball. That should have been just laid off very slightly, whereas Grant really did belt the ball back into Atkins.
Free kick going to Kellett by the look of it. It's a tough day for footy, no question about that. Centre half forward, Hawkins, now Chris Grant, looking for options. Goes very short. Del Rey, Shanahan, Del Rey, well played, brilliantly played. McPherson, Del Rey can kick this, round the body, goes for it, and has put it through. A splendid goal.
That was a wonderful bit of play then by Del Rey. He worked hard once the ball hit the ground. He created something out of absolutely nothing in getting the ball back. A quick knock out then to McPherson, and then he followed back up from a handball from McPherson. And Del Rey, the longer the season goes, the more this guy plays in league football, the better he looks, and he really does remind one of Jason Dunstall.
A badly needed goal to the Bulldogs, kicking with the strong breeze to Denny Del Rey. A great goal it was to his Steve Newport. Can't get his boot to it. Goes in after it again. The umpire might have to bounce this, and he will. But Denny Del Rey, one of the most improved players in the competition, gave the initial tap out, then went and kicked the goal himself after good work by Steve McPherson. Excellent play it was. Vidovic versus Wind. Kicked away for Footscray by Shannon Corker into the half-forward line. Chris Grant looking very dangerous. Breaks the tackle, Chris Grant. Onto the left foot. It rolls. It bounces. It's a great goal. Chris Grant has kicked his second. And they're ecstatic, Footscray. 4-2 to St Kilda, 1 goal.
That was magnificent play then from Chris Grant. For such a tall man, his athleticism that he showed on that occasion. He beat 2 tackles and then he put the ball on his wrong foot, his left foot, and dribbled back for a wonderful goal. And I see now St Kilda are making the move. They put Morris back onto Chris Grant, and David Grant now becomes a loose man in the back line.
Well, 2 outstanding goals to Footscray have put them back on track in this opening term. Coleman tries to break the tackle. Wine does to Steve Wallace. Quickly, didn't look around the body. Gets good distance. Colin Newcomb, Devonport. Devonport did the right thing off the ground. Boundary line. I get the feeling, Tim, there's Coleman and also Winmar that scores are about level. Footscray being 3 goals in front at this stage.
Yes, I think that gives you a true indication of the breeze. And I just wonder how long St Kilda can leave Bowie off the ground. They've got Winmar playing a negative role on Liberatore and Harvey being shut down at the moment
Hawkins,
by Steve Wallace.
This could be a goal by Hawkins. It is. Dougie has kicked the beauty. And there have been 3 outstanding goals in the last 2 minutes, and suddenly Footscray have extended the lead.
This is coming from a boundary throw-in. And Doug Hawkins, who really does marvellous with his skills, a veteran of the game. And he's still as good as ever, Dougie, and always worth 2 or 3 goals playing in that forward line for Footscray.
Well, we're back to the centre. Adrian Fletcher coming off and Dean Gregg on. Here's Winmar. Another goal into the breeze to be handed to the side. Lockett. Oh, good mark, good lead.
So he's far out.
He's got to get it to Lowe now. He's got to kick it long now to Stuart Lowe, who's gone back into the square. Beautiful kick by Lockett. Lowe has got 2 to beat. And it proves too much as they thump it over the line. Keenan Reynolds one and Tui was the other.
They double teamed Lowe on that occasion. They've got to get the ball quickly from just outside that 50-metre arc.
I'm with you. I'm amazed Brett Bowie is not on the ground. He was so good against Collingwood when he came on. There's Lowe, a quick kick. Oh, Lockett's got a chase with Campbell. Campbell should have the pace. Well played by Lockett. Good tackle. Dale Kickett races in after it. Now it's Liberatore. On to Corcoran, and Shannon Corcoran kicks wide and he's found Mansfield.
Half back. 7 minutes remaining. Footscray leads by 26 points. Grant, who's been outstanding in the opening term, called to play on. He feinted one handball, then has to handle under pressure. Winmar goes in hard. Burke takes it for St Kilda. Round his body. And a good mark by Baxter getting back.
Well, Baxter's become the spare man in the back line. He was being picked up by Morris before, and they both went into a ruck roll type role, and now David Grant will probably have the job of picking him up.
To centre wing, Hawkins. Newport, good take, but the tackle was okay. Daniels very clever to Dwyer. Sits and waits in the mud. Handball was effective to Harvey. This is his 3rd kick coming up. Goes very short. Daniels, who's prominent on his wing on Kellett.
That was his only option then.
Drop punt centering. Lockett the target. Good kick. Gives him some chance, and Wine takes the mark. I did say good kick. It didn't quite in the end get to Lockett.
50, I think. 50 metres. So I think Lockett clipped him across the head, didn't he, Tim?
I'm sure he clipped him across the head, but my old coach used to say, you've got to hit something.
It was in the action.
Well, here's Wine now, Tim, with the Lockett.
Well, it's not really 50, is it?
Centre half forward. Newport over the top will get a free kick. It's pretty hard in the trenches at this very minute, isn't it?
Or is it ever?
It's a very tough game.
There's Steve Newport and there's McAdam and Steve McPherson having a bit of a dust-up. Centre wing, a bit of holding going on. And Doug Hawkins, he tried to do a little clever hand pass, but what a great goal he kicked a couple of minutes ago. He'll be loving this to have his beloved Bulldogs out there in the finals.
I just wonder if Dougie tried to handball the ball back into the foot to get a over the boundary line on the full on that occasion.
He's clever enough to do it, Tim.
I think he did try on that occasion.
You've played against him for many years. You know how clever he is. Now, centre wing. Coleman doing the ruck work. McPherson tries to crash his way through. Dean Gregg lays the tackle. Liberatore in after it. He's brought the ground. Gee, they tackle well these days. Gregg again. Oh, well played, Dean Gregg. Oh, that's out in the full. I'm sure that came off his boot. Well, it'll be a throw-in. It looked as though it came off his boot. Let's have a look, see if it does actually come off the boot. He picks it up off the knee, actually. There's Liberatore. To half forward, punched down by Grant. Geez, working hard, Chris Grant. McAdam on to Ralph Smith. Ralph Smith on the left foot hooks it back towards centre wing. Jason Daniels can't mark. Wine Taps it on towards Tui. Tui to Liberatore is working overtime. Liberatore to the half-forward line. A pack develops. No mark. Collingwood. A quick kick to the wide open spaces. Shanahan versus Del Rey. Shanahan picks it up beautifully. Good play by Shanahan. And he kicks it out towards the line.
Corcoran and Burke. Corcoran going to ground. Ball out of play. Throw in.
That's good play then by Del Rey too. He made up a lot of ground to put pressure on Shanahan. Shanahan choosing the right option. There was a handball target then, but it was going to be a difficult one to do. We'll see. Bowie has gone on to Liberatore now.
Greg's kick away from half-back Dwyer. What an important 4 minutes coming up. Dwyer's handball didn't go anywhere. A goal to the Saints would be invaluable. One to Footscray would give them the edge at quarter time. Burke in hard. A Footscray ball. Baxter receives the handball, runs on, goes to the forward pocket. Del Rey the target, didn't get that far. Devonport takes the mark. Quickly plays on to Harvey. Harvey just chips a little one. Ralph Smith takes a good mark. Had Newport there, now uses him. Little left footer, back to centre half forward. Loose, wasn't it? Not a good kick now. Baxter's got Coleman wide.
Yes. Just over 3 minutes to quarter time as Coleman brings it to the pocket. Good mark, McPherson. Steve McPherson from 60 metres. He still should be moving that ball very quickly into the goal square. Del Rey's on the lead now. He chips it into Del Rey and out in the fall. I still think he took too long getting rid of it.
Well, he did, and he also went too wide. I think that you're much better off to try and open up the goals and just put the ball at the top of the 10-yard square, perhaps.
Gilbert McAdam receives from Shanahan. Kicks to the half-back line. Russell Morris. He's been through many finals campaigns with Hawthorn. Pekin, former Fitzroy utility player. McAdam again. Beautiful kick. Bowie. Brett Bowie inside. Russell Morris. A goal here into the breeze would be very handy. Here's Scott Wine getting into that hole at half-back. He takes a good mark.
He's done that well on a couple of occasions already in this first quarter.
Tui in trouble. Back to Wine. Clever Wine. Well played to Reynolds. Wine did very well against St Kilda early in the year at the Western Oval getting back when Lockett kicked 3 goals. Here's Coleman from centre wing. Up towards McPherson. McAdam at the back. McPherson. McAdam. The handball okay to Wallace. Back to McPherson. Will it sit? It's been good football by Footscray. McPherson from 60 metres. Good kick. A beauty to Grant on the lead. Well, he's been the outstanding forward in the opening quarter.
He's a class act, isn't he, Tim?
Yes, he is a class act, and it's very easy to play on the forward line when the wind is going in your direction and the ball's coming in quickly, because you do have that space always to run into. Take the ball up the other end where the ball's coming in very slowly, and it's very hard to play as a forward under those circumstances.
Well, he's the one and only teenager out there today. Youngest man on the field. Will he kick his 3rd goal in the opening quarter? No, that one across the face and not registering the score. So Chris Grant 2-1 and 1 out on the full.
Chris Grant comes from Dalesford, so it would be almost like a heat wave out there today for him.
Not quite, Tim, not quite. Shanahan from the pocket.
Just over a minute to quarter time. And Coleman a good mark. No mark. Liberatore. Socket off the ground. It's a race for the ball at centre wing.
Great
well
pick
picked
up
by Mansfield. It's Matthew Mansfield to the pocket. And it beats Dougie Hawkins over the line.
We've got a lot of exciting young players. We see David Grant there on the interchange bench. A horror start for him, starting on Chris Grant. Chris Grant leading him a merry dance over the forward line, and now he's cooling his heels on the bench.
38 seconds remaining. Vidovic goes for it, so does Chris Grant. And Dennis Rich says, I'll have that, and we'll start again.
It's pretty even, isn't it, really, Bruce?
Dead set, Peter. A goal here would give Footscray, you reckon, a slight edge, but the Saints have done reasonably well. Footscray getting 3 goals in a real hurry, and St Kilda should hold them now with 15 seconds remaining, and Newport to get a free kick. I think it's his 3rd in the opening term. It's been prominent early, Newport. Drop punt. Wind goes for it, unable to take it, and that's quarter time. So Bruce Grant with 2, McPherson, Del Rey and Hawkins 1 apiece, and Lockett getting the goal for St Kilda. And at quarter time, Footscray leads with the aid of the breeze, 5-2, 32 to St Kilda, 1 goal. Start of the second quarter, and Footscray by 26 points. Oh, Liberatore there. Gee, I hope he's okay. Tui in pursuit with Kickett. Little one by Tui was effective though. Missed by Corcoran. McAdam, still McAdam, and Liberatore has picked himself up, but he's still got hold of himself at the moment. I don't blame him. Gee.
There's a nasty blow to cop.
Now Vidovic wins the tap cleverly. Bowie runs onto it. Liberatore, forever the terrier after him. Now Mansfield. Well, that looked as if he was straight for the boundary line and out of play.
Yes, he sought the refuge of the boundary line on that occasion. Didn't disguise it all that well. And Footscray have made a great move in putting Hawkins back there, and that's what, in fact, what I thought St Kilda should have done in the first quarter, and had Nicky Winmar playing their loose man in defence.
Well, Doug Hawkins has done that many times in the past out at the Western Oval, Footscray's home ground, Tim, and has done it successfully.
Well, he's an intelligent player. He'll make the correct decision from back there, and he can commence to start the play from the half-back line.
Stuart Lowe to do the ruck work against Scott Wine. Wine at the back. Well, he won that one, but it didn't go to their advantage. Now, there's Robert Harvey going to ground, and the umpire will come in and bounce again.
Sorry, Peter. Steve Wallace has done a good job on Robert Harvey, hasn't he? Robert Harvey very quiet in the first quarter.
Good player, Stephen Wallace, playing his 200th league game, as it's knocked back towards the half-forward line by Lowe. Oh, was that deliberate? Yes. And good to see the umpire playing that, because that was the intention to tap it straight over the line.
Yes, and if they didn't pay one sooner or later, this game would just be full of them for the rest of the day. So I think the players now will get the message, and when they go towards the boundary line, they're going to have to be a little bit more scientific with the way they see it over.
Dean Gregg in among the cameramen. He will kick from right on the line. That's a good-looking drop punt, lands right up in the square. It's thumped through, and for a behind by Tony Campbell. So behind on the board, there's Dean Gregg on screen. Behind are the Saints. So they move on to 1-1. Footscray remain on 5-2.
Campbell, they call him the gloved one, as he goes to halfback, gets good distance. Wine and Vidovic against one another. Atkins tried to get it away, was quickly tackled. Kickett well played with some strength, barged his way through. Bowie went to ground, unable to break through. Kickett again there with Tui. Gang tackling you'd expect here from Footscray in the second quarter.
Yes, Footscray have been very strong on the defensive side of their game, and Kickett's impressed since St Kilda did recruit him from Western Australia. He doesn't get a lot of possessions, but he's very creative on the forward line. He tackles very well.
It's his third league club in a very short career. Free kick to Wine. Sweeps out a handball to Reynolds. Reynolds been given the job on Lowe today. Up to half or centre wing. Corcoran at the back. And that just out of play. And for every minute that Footscray can hold St Kilda up, it is a bonus.
Yeah, they'll be happy to just force the ball along this boundary line until they can work it into a position where they can start to centre it and attack.
Well, here's Corcoran to the half-forward line. Devonport is there. Now, how will the umpire see that? Holding the man against Devonport. Collinop to Stephen Wallace. Wallace, nicely weighted kick to half. Well, Del Rey used his body beautifully. Now, Danny Del Rey is a magnificent kick of a football. Now, Lockett couldn't make the distance from about a similar position, Tim.
No, I think he's the man with the barra.
Well, he's chipping it in. Oh, look at this. Unmarked is Doug Hawkins, who's playing a loose man in defence. He has snuck up the ground into the hole. No one has picked him up. He's going to shoot for goal from 25 metres.
And as I mentioned before, Hawkins, a very intelligent player, moved all the way down the field, and there he's bobbing up with some space on the forward line and a very important goal.
Well, he's going for his second goal. He stabs it low into the breeze. He might have missed this. He has. He had the right idea. And there's Terry Wheeler and Teddy Whitten Jr. So Dougie Hawkins has missed what he should have got really in the finish.
5-3-1-1. Morris straight down the centre. Hawkins again puts a hip and shoulder on Rouse Smith. He put a beauty on last Sunday. Rouse Smith did pretty well. Devonport. Morris, danger. Oh, big danger here. Vidovic, well done. Bowie looked for a free kick, didn't get it. Atkins crashes through, goes for goal. And gets some distance into the breeze.
He should have done a lot more with that, though, didn't he? There was two Footscray players, Del Rey and Grant, onto one St Kilda player, and he should have done a lot more. He normally shows a lot more poise than that. On that occasion, just blasted away.
The wind just got hold of it too in the end. Shanahan, McAdam marks at centre half back.
That pressure applied by the Footscray forwards on the St Kilda backs was magnificent.
Robert Harvey there, not getting much out of him. Oh, he's kicked straight to Coleman. Bad play by Harvey. Look at this, loose men everywhere. Steve Wallace in towards Grant. Grant plays on. He races into goal, Chris Grant. And Chris Grant, I think he's kicked it. Yes. So Chris Grant, the star of this game, he's kicked 3 goals. Footscray, what a handy one. 6-3 to 1-1.
And Footscray making St Kilda pay. And I would expect that we'd see a fella go out in a green tracksuit to Robert Harvey and tell him that, son, we've got the wind behind us. It's a gale blowing down the ground. Get some distance with your kicks.
Three goals to Grant. Footscray lead by 32 points. They led by 34 points last week in a similar position against Geelong. But this match will be a lot harder to kick goals today. Harvey takes the mark. 50,000 people scream, kick it long, Robert, and he doesn't. And for the second time gives it away to Kellett. And they could make them pay here, though. Coleman falls over. The Kellett kick wasn't good. Morris, play Grant again. Still Grant. Morris with him. And off the ground. And just for the moment, Tim, you get the feeling that St Kilda is panicking.
St Kilda are panicking. They've lost all sign of poise in their play. And Robert Harvey, who played almost a perfect game last week, in the last 2 minutes has made 2 terrible blues.
Coleman threw it out, had one arm hurled and threw it out to Kellett and has been penalised at half forward. 39-7, and this has been an excellent first 10 minutes for Footscray in this second quarter.
As it ever, Vidovic at half back. He should be looking to kick it long. Now he's gone short. Ridiculous play. Atkins, Liberatore into Del Rey. He couldn't take the mark. Shanahan well played. But I can't believe that St Kilda want to chip it short, kicking with the strong breeze. Here it is at half back. Oh, good play by the Bulldogs as it comes out towards Corcoran. Corcoran wide to Tui. Bernard Tui chips it in. Danny Del Rey. It's punched away. Devonport, he went without it. Oh, he's lying on top of the ball down there, Shanahan, but he eventually gets it out. Craig Devonport, he elects to kick long this time. The ironical cheers of the Saints supporters, but once again the kick goes to a Footscray man. It was Baxter.
To Coleman, cops a heavy one from Daniels. Now Newport and Atkins off the ball. Coleman plays on to half forward. Grant the target, has 2 to beat. Magnificent football. He has been the big star of this match today. What a talent he is, 19 years of age.
He's a real talent.
Now, 65 metres out, too far out. Del Rey provides one lead. Vidovic is back on his own in the square. So there are not a lot of options here for Grant. I don't think he minds too much that he is taking his time, by the way. Every second valuable. Grant pops it up towards Del Rey, has a fly. Unable to take it, McAdam. Devonport again kicks it long. Coleman against the flow of the football here. Winmar with skill. Well played, Crediuk, though, who started this match well. Newport gets it away in a hurry. Kick it. Weaves, dodges, tries to set it up. Centering kick not effective. Baxter had to sit and wait. Mansfield, I should say, has plenty of time. Goes to fall forward. McPherson, but taken clearly by Vidovic at centre half back.
St Kilda's use of the ball at the moment is absolutely abysmal, as we see the short pass come to McAdam. Again, it's a sprayed kick. Look at that. Straight to Kellett. Kellett on the left foot. A booming left foot. Magnificent kick by Kellett. Finds Collingwood. Collingwood in short. Oh, they're playing inspired football, Footscray. This is Steve McPherson. He should be looking to kick it long. He chips it across. Steve Wallace on his own. Oh, St.Kilda not manning up. And again, it's Coleman on his own. Can he get there? No, he can't. Ralph Smith put his body on the line. Well played by Sean Ralph Smith. He saved the day. Then he found Robert Harvey, who now this time kicks long, and listen to the cheers of the crowd.
Free kick, Winmar being held on to.
I think one of the reasons why St Kilda aren't moving the ball well is that the pressure being applied by Footscray.
Well, again, Winmar with a long one. Again, the crowd roar. Well played by Reynolds. Burke Mansfield did a good job. Baxter went to ground, gets a free kick. It'll come back to Baxter. Now to Hawkins. To Wine. Now there's his option. To Mansfield. They're running it out of defence. Short, not a good kick. That's loose. Footy's deteriorated a bit. Bowie, Harvey, back to Bowie. All cleaned up. Reynolds over the back of Lowe. Free kick down the ground to Lowe. Flatten then Bowie. And Lowe, who's had a quiet day, here's Bowie. Pretty up late. Kept the elbow down.
Yes, he was committed. There wasn't much in it, and we see Dale kick it coming off the ground and Fletcher coming back on. Fletcher started the game on the half-forward flank. Not doing a lot in the first quarter. St Kilda really do need a lot more from their little middle-sized players and their midfielders.
And they need a goal here, Tim. Low from 45 metres, drop punt. Just missing and behind. So the Saints have crawled their way up to 1-2. As they look on there, David Grant and Dale kick it. And Footscray at 6-3 as Campbell comes to half-back.
Well, unless they do something soon, it could be the end of their season. They really need a couple of quick goals. McAdam, now Liberatore. Well, good play by the little rover as he puts it to the safety of the boundary line. Scoreboard, 6 goals, 3 Footscray. St Kilda 1 goal, 2. They'll have to get a move on. 14.5 minutes to go till half-time. And Footscray successfully bottling them up at the moment. Wine, because they're prepared to work hard for the ball. Here's Harvey. He's surrounded. He's got a great capacity to shrug the tackle. Magnificent kick. Oh, Daniels has dropped it. Cleverly taps it on, with Footscray harassing. Here's Fletcher. Now McAdam. Now Newport. They're wanting the handball. They've got the loose man now. They should be looking for Lockett. Devonport on the left foot. Lockett. Oh, great mark. Tony Lockett. Strength and class.
That was a wonderful bit of play. He used all his strength and all his class to get that one. Propping, holding Campbell back, and then just putting out the one mid.
Well, Lockett kicks St Kilda's only goal into the breeze. They really need this one. He's captain for today. He's got to set the example by kicking this goal. He's taking his time. He is one of the great kicks for goal in league football. Even so, he'd be pretty nervous as he comes in to kick. Big hands round that ball from directly in front. Tony Lockett. He kicks and he's goal. So Lockett has kicked 2. Maybe that'll lift the Saints. A badly needed goal. St Kilda 2-2 to Footscray 6-3.
St Kilda still clogging up with possessions midfield before they finally let go with the ball. And it was Devonport, who is a good playmaker, to kick the ball down, and left foot kick to Lockett, and Lockett with all his brute strength doing the rest.
Two, 6-3. Lockett with his second goal. 130 for the season. Winmar off the ground. Kellett against the tide off the ground. Hawkins, loose man in defence. Left foot. Footscray seem to have got more distance into the breeze than St Kilda. Devonport takes the mark. It was a good kick a moment ago by Devonport on his left foot to be able to get it to Lockett. Now Devonport's kick, swirly breeze. That one almost, I think, held up. 2 Footscray players went. Fletcher got it to Newport, to centre half forward. Well played, Pekin. McPherson looks for a free kick and he gets it. That's centre half back. Just every now and then I get the feeling that the wind's playing tricks here, because Footscray has got some distance into it. Here's Liberatore, switches it wide to Baxter at half-back. A kick towards centre wing, Corcoran. And running it out was Ralph Smith, but that won't worry Footscray too much if the Saints run it over the boundary line at this stage.
Footscray will be happy just to work the ball down this flank, taking it as close as they can to the line and holding the play up for as long as they possibly can.
There's Vidovic racing back. Bowie gets it to McAdam. McAdam, a clever hand pass. Finds Newport. Newport on the left foot. Brings it in looking for Lowe. I think he's underneath it. He is. Umpire calling play on as Scotty Wine gets it across to Tui. Tui caught. Gets in a hand pass to Baxter. St Kilda working hard at half forward. There's Fletcher thrown off the ball. The hand pass comes out to Credium. On it comes to Liberatore. Now to the star of the game, in my opinion, Grant. Oh, it's still in play. Gee, it's his day, Chris Grant. And the boundary up, I said, it crossed the line. I don't know whether it did. Tim, I didn't think it did.
No, I think both the players went across the line, but the ball definitely stayed in.
Yes, I thought the same. As we see the big thump by Vidovic. Here's a chance for Sean Ralph Smith. He should look for Lockett. Lockett is one out down in the goal square, but Wine gets into the hole. Lockett, thumped away by Wine. Well played. And over the line, he's getting back to help out Tony Campbell.
Yes, and that was courageous play by Wine, because that ball sat a long way up in the ball and it kept going back further and further. As we see that ball then not actually going over the line. Both the players did go over the line, but the ball managed to stay in play.
Low and Wine, there's a bit of strength there, isn't there, as the ball goes out again. Harvey running onto it.
So that'd be a daunting prospect, wouldn't it, going back with the flight of the ball, knowing that big Tony Lockett's about to converge on top of you.
Well, he's done it well, Wine. He's a man of great courage, playing his first final here today.
Well, the only way you stop that, Bruce, is to get the ball quicker down to Lockett. If you're slow getting it there, it gives Wine time to get back.
Well, he actually did a brilliant job, because Ralph Smith banged it down in a hurry a moment ago. Low against Wine again, taken by McAdam. McAdam quickly. Now Lockett's one out with a chance. Well done, big fellow. Free kick. Hanging on.
He's strong, isn't he, Tim?
Yes, he's a mountain of a man. And one out, I would back him against any player in the AFL.
Well, you just can't imagine anyone to beat him one-on-one, could you?
I think it was a mark.
Well, it's in a difficult situation where he's put his body between you and the ball, and there's no way known that you're going to move him or get around him to try and knock the ball away.
The immovable object he is, and what a great player, going for goal number 131, but more importantly than that, the third goal today.
And the quick kick to where he was one out, that's what I was trying to say, Bruce, to get it to him quickly.
From the goal square virtually, that's where Campbell's standing on the edge. Lockett bends down, drop punt, leans back, hooks it, but kicks a goal. 3 to Lockett, 3 to St Kilda, and they edge closer. Not too far away now at 3-2 to 6-3.
Yeah, this is a critical 5 minutes now for Footscray. They really do need to hold up, whilst St Kilda need to mount an onslaught. At no stage during this quarter have they been able to put a couple of goals together. They now need to do that, and Footscray need to continue to hold them so they could go into a half-time with a significant gap.
Atkins finding the close attention of Stephen Newport annoying. Newport is a good tagger. Vidovic versus Wine. No decisive hit out. Daniels went in. Oh, Nathan Burke copped it across the head, I feel. Is he going to get a free kick? No. So it'll be a bounce. Centre of the ground. A throw up. Wine and Vidovic. Umpire calls play on. Is shuffled out towards Atkins from Wallace. Here's Collingwood, a quick kick to the half-forward line. Coleman loses it. Punched away by Ralph Smith. Corcoran, he went without it. Well done by McAdam. Pekin puts on the tackle, and the umpire, Dennis Rich, had a good view of that, and good umpiring. There was no free kick there, and it will be, probably throw it up here, he will.
Vidovic and Coleman. Maybe just Vidovic. McAdam's been useful. Atkins has had 4 and 4. Newport's had 8 and 2 against him. Corcoran to Coleman. He's got plenty of time. Takes plenty of time. Centres it. Collingwood held onto by Devonport. It's loose by Devonport because Dwyer was in the box seat. Too far out, you'd think. Footscray mounting an attack, leading 39 to 20. 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Now Del Rey in the goal square. Very short to Liberatore. Like playing chess, isn't it? One move at a time.
It's just inching your way forward. And Liberatore, one would think, is a long way out of goal even for that man.
Drop punt. He's got onto it very well. It's right there. Big chance for a mark. Off the ground, McPherson. St Kilda with the opportunity to try and get away. McPherson was still there. Collingwood trying to weave something out. And it's going to be a ball up with Footscray 15 metres away from their goal. What a critical play this one is. A goal here would be an enormous boost to Footscray. Coleman and Vidovic, body on body. Left foot by Collingwood, a chance. Goal. Well, what a play it was. And Collingwood gets a goal out of not much, and Footscray get a big break again here at 7-3.
Yes, and Steve Collingwood really does not do enough for a player of his experience now. In the last couple of minutes, he has got his hands on the leather a couple of times and done some positive things, but Footscray need a lot more out of him.
Sean Ralph Smith off the ground and coming back on David Grant, who was banished from the ground when he couldn't handle his namesake, Chris Grant. So we're back in the centre. That was a bad one for St Kilda. 7-3 plays 3-2. Here's Tui. He gets in a hand pass straight to Mick Dwyer. They've got to get a couple of goals before half-time, the Saints. Here's Corcoran. Hand pass back to Steve Wallace, who's still got control of the ball. Grant, geez, been good.
And St Kilda a little bit worried about the impact Liberatore's having on the game. They've put Burke onto Liberatore now.
Well, Coleman, some pushing and shoving, and it's going the way of Coleman. Oh, I thought Coleman did the pushing out.
Oh, certainly did.
Well, Coleman's got the kick at half forward. Let's have a look. There's Coleman now. He's behind. Wow, you saw that for yourself. It didn't make any difference as it turned out. Shanahan to the half-back line. Was that a push in the back? No. Kelly races after it. Bowie is there also. Collingwood again. Bowie goes to ground. Gets in a quick ball. Daniels receives from McAdam, and Footscray doing well to lock it up.
Footscray are working a lot harder than St Kilda. They're winning around the packs. And St Kilda really are going to have to do something if they're going to get back into this game.
They're the masters, aren't they, Footscray? The low-scoring, tight matches, high tackle, free kick, going to Mansfield at centre wing. I almost feel St Kilda's playing into Footscray's hands here. Now he takes on Daniels and gets around him a bit too easily in the end, and then thumps the ball to full forward. Del Rey unable to hold what would have been a tough one. Shanahan off the ground. McPherson well played. Here's a chance. Handball to Grant. Goal number 4. Well, it's too early to say shut the gate, but it's a big, big break now.
Footscray have been absolutely magnificent in this second quarter, playing into this strong breeze. They've outscored St Kilda, and that was a classical example of playing out the boundary line situation. Morris did a good job to stop that one because there was 2 Footscray players running on, and then McPherson being able to get his hands free, which he shouldn't have been able to do. That ball should have been locked up on that occasion, and then getting it onto Grant, and Grant's 4 goals, a magnificent contribution.
A huge advantage for Footscray. They've worked hard on the Saints. 8-3 to 3-2, and look at the time clock, just under 5 minutes. Look at Liberatore crashing his way into the pack. Steve Wallace dives on the ball. Now he gets it out. Robert Harvey, they really need him firing up. Wind, read it well. Scott Wind, oh, Chris Grant again, no mark. Winmar mops up. Now he's got no one to give it to, so he's forced to go back onto the right foot and kick it wide. Jason Daniel, could be danger here. Daniels, a little fumble and they're in trouble. He tunnel balls that one and eventually gets a free kick. A little bit soft, that free kick.
The St Kilda players aren't playing with any confidence, are they?
Daniels, an ordinary looking kick. Coleman, disciplined play, thumps at the ground. Winmar on the left foot to the half-forward line. 2 Footscray and 1 St Kilda. It's a loose ball with Fletcher. Look at the tackling of Mansfield. Tremendous. Wine. Now McPherson to the half-forward line, but it's mopped up by Grant.
Kick back towards centre wing. McAdam spilt the mark, but he had some time. Then goes bang with a long one. Lowe and Lockett the targets. Reynolds well played at the back of Lowe. Greg attacks it very strongly. Tui puts the tackle on. Play on cord. Hawkins clever. Corcoran sat and waited. It bounced. It was too slow. Put Wallace under pressure, who wasn't watching. Just a mistake there. There's Hawkins and Greg. About 40 metres off the ball at half forward for St Kilda. Dougie would be just revelling in this at the moment. He'd be delighted with what's happened. Corcoran paves the way. Reynolds on hands and knees. Goes for the boundary line, but that would have been a cruel decision.
And Reynolds has done a wonderful job. It's almost half time, and Stewie Lowe still hasn't taken a mark in this game.
Who would have thought? There's the tackles. Footscray 10, St Kilda 5, and I think that's the name of the game at the moment. They're committed, Footscray. There's Steve Wallace. Now he was caught high and ridden into the ground. Free kick. But they're just too committed at the moment. It's Atkins, in fact, who received a free kick before that. Simon Atkins to the half-forward line. Valuable seconds ticking away. Grant, was he shoved out? No, the umpire had a good side on view of that. As we see Russell Morris kick it to the half-forward line. They need Lowe taking marks. As Tim Watson said, yet to take a mark, Stuart Lowe. Who would have thought that getting on towards half-time?
Yet in his defence, the ball really hasn't been pinpointed when it's gone down the field towards him. But they really do need him there, taking marks as their focal point across half-forward.
13 he took last week. There's a big difference, isn't there? Liberatore's kick away towards centre wing. Winmar. Still Winmar, unable to pick it up, surprisingly. Puts himself under a lot of pressure and then has to handball under pressure to Burke. Quick kick away. Reasonably effective. Lovely take by Dwyer. Has Greg short. Goes long to Lockett. Here's a chance. Free kick to Campbell. Well, here's danger. Hawkins, well, he turned away from Lockett, then runs away to half-back. Free kick down the ground against Lockett.
And it's no good doing that. Tony Lockett's the captain today. He has to lead by example.
The kick to Grant. Now, is that a free kick? Oh, the St Kilda supporters won't like this. Because the free kick now the other end to Grant. Grant way out at centre wing. Baxter. The time clock. A minute to go till half-time. Magnificent performance this by Footscray. Committed performance. It hits the deck. Oh, McPherson to Liberatore. Liberatore, the little rover, sprints into goal, and he's put it through another one. Footscray on fire. 9-3, plays 3-2.
Well, Footscray are giving St Kilda a real lesson in hard-running, tackling, committed football. They're getting the numbers at the ball. On that occasion, Steve McPherson, just a magnificent bit of play. Great vision. The handball didn't hit Liberatore on the chest, but the ball was out in front of Liberatore. Liberatore had the space in front of him, and Footscray are full of running, whereas St Kilda are full of indecision.
Well, what a start here by Footscray. Magnificent first half they've played, particularly into the breeze here. Liberatore, what a terrier. Brownlow medalist 2 years ago. Best and fairest at this club last year. 57-20. It's a mammoth lead in the conditions, considering the goals today are going to be so hard to get. Atkins' quick kick away. Grant, who's kicked 4 goals today. That's one more than St Kilda's kicked for the first half. The handball by Corcoran. Wallace goes towards Coleman. Grant gets in front, slips over. Coleman back to Wallace. Seconds remaining only. And what a half by Footscray as the siren now sounds. And into the breeze, the Dogs managed 4 goals, whilst that man Lockett kicked 2 goals for St Kilda and has the 3 up to half-time. They must kick goals into the breeze.
Well, they have to attack. We see Winmar lining up on Atkins. Now, I just hope that Nicky Winmar doesn't play too much a defensive role.
57-20 at half-time. Vidovic wins the tap. Dwyer tries to break a tackle, and a second one. Liberatore had hold of him and wins the free kick. So he starts the second half as he left the first. Maybe the smallest man out there, but one of the really outstanding players in the AFL. Into the breeze.
Well, they have to attack. We see Winmar lining up on Atkins. Now, I just hope that Nicky Winmar doesn't play too much a defensive role.
57-20 at half-time. Vidovic wins the tap. Dwyer tries to break a tackle, and a second one. Liberatore had hold of him and wins the free kick. So he starts the second half as he left the first. Maybe the smallest man out there, but one of the really outstanding players in the AFL. Here's Wallace, 200th game. What a celebration for him if the Doggies can march on to a preliminary final. There's a long way to go yet. A lot can happen in this game in an hour. Chris Grant, who's kicked 4 goals to date, didn't give the handball off, thought he should have. Now goes to Atkins. Still Atkins, keeps his balance, goes for goal and kicks it. What a start! Oh, well, if that wouldn't break the back, I don't know what will.
That is a real heartbreaker, that, isn't it? Seconds into the first quarter, into the third quarter, as they did in the first quarter, Footscray scoring a goal, and Grant really should have gone the option the first time, although he did draw 2 players towards him and gave Atkins a little bit of space, and Atkins really just threw that ball onto his boot, wind behind him, and it sailed through for a very handy goal this early part of the third quarter.
Well, we're back in the centre. It's going to need a miraculous effort here by the Saints. That was Ralph Smith trying to crush his way through. Now Winmar, a hurry kick to the half-forward line. Crediuk kept his eyes on the ball. Robert Harvey to the half-forward line. Dale kick it, tried to trap it. Quick hand pass. Came from Tui. On to Mansfield. Now Baxter. Darren Baxter, good reliable player to centre wing. David Grant can't take the mark. Harvey, quick hand pass. Nathan Burke. Winmar trying to lift his side. The ball again holds up in the breeze towards the half-forward line. Crediuk drops it. And he gets the free kick. He put the ball on the ground. He might have been caught a little bit high.
And as Jared Healy suggested at half-time, Devonport has gone to a forward flank, and Nathan Burke is now picking up Collingwood in the back line.
Well, it was just high, wasn't it? The centre of the ground. Good mark taken by Vidovic on to Burke.
Quick kick, wind attacks it. Oh, does it very well, the big man. Clever to Corcoran, to Atkins, to Liberatore, to Baxter. A training drill suddenly for Footscray to fall forward. Hawkins. Captain Courageous. Well, he missed one in the second quarter into the breeze, and he rarely misses them, Dougie. And the Saints are right up against this. 287 games. He's kicked 37 goals this season. Drop punt, he's kicked it through.
Hit the post.
Just hitting on the line. Hawkins with 1-2 and 1 out of bounds on the full. And unlike Hawkins, he's missed 2 that you would bank him in for normally at 10-4 to 3-2.
Russell Morris to the half-back line. Whenever it's been a loose ball, it's been Footscray with the ability to grab it. Oh, Winmar playing a great third term. He's lifting this, trying to lift this side as he brings it to the half-forward line. Up they go. It's no mark. The ball hits that X. Stephen Crediuk mopping up into Atkins. Cleverly done, Atkins. That was McDwyer, they were intercepting. Liberatore. Now Dale kick it. They need 2 or 3 goals into the breeze, the Saints. Here's Winmar playing a magnificent term. The booming kick to the half-forward line. And a good no mark, in fact. Here's big Tony Lockett. Lockett kicks. Devonport races back with a flight. Let's see what he can do with it. Devonport chips in a goal. And he's in his rightful position. He puts it through. Maybe they can mount something. Lockett's certainly not letting them down. Craig Devonport kicks his first, and they must play him on the forward line.
Yes, and that was a good play then by Dwyer just to make that a crumb. He really had to commit himself then, making sure that the ball came to ground, and then Lockett picking the ball up and snapping it over his shoulder for Devonport. And that was a critical goal because I felt from up here that Footscray were just about to burst this game right open, and now they really have to got a lot of work to do in this third quarter again.
10-4, 4-2. Wine won the tap. Burke from the centre to half forward. Lowe and Reynolds. First mark for the day for Big Stewie. His first grab gives it to Harvey. Put him under pressure. Harvey had to give it away to Winmar. Conceded some ground. Round the body. Reynolds takes the mark. Probably just a bit anxious there, Lowe, after taking a very strong mark. His first grab for the day. And just put Harvey under some pressure. Reynolds with good distance to centre wing. Chris Grant clever. Nathan Burke gets back, misses it. Gets back on it. Kellett put a good tackle on him. Grant well played to Collingwood. Options are opening up. Goes wide. Del Rey on a long lead. Shanahan attacks it. McPherson off the ground. Pekin. Now Corcoran back there. Well played McPherson. Corcoran's left foot goes for goal. Into the square. Front spot is Hawkins, off hands, getting back Burke, concedes a behind. 10-5, 4-2, next goal vital here. Saints, as for all he looks on, must get it into the breeze.
And there's Barry Stanfield on the right of screen looking on, and well, he'll be happy with what he sees at the moment.
I don't think Terry Wheeler's had to bring one at the interchange. Hasn't made a change all day.
They're both very fresh on the boundary line, whereas St Kilda have been using their interchange players.
Well, here's Pekin at half back. They really have to mount something in this term. They have to be within 3 or 4 goals at three-quarter time to have a chance. Oh, Shanahan took a punt. He gets away with it. Jamie Shanahan, improved player. Good kick. Centre wing is Ralph Smith. He's off. Now, there's no one leading. So he was forced back onto the left foot by no one there leading at half forward. Here's Lowe. It's thumped the ground. Doing the roping is Steve Credial. A quick kick. The centre wing, and there's the man of the match, Chris Grant.
4 goals in the first half. Goes up towards Hawkins. Uses his body cleverly, but Vidovic gets back. Left-hand handball to Winmar, who's been prominent. Oh, clever. Really good vision there by Winmar to Burke. Burke back to Grant, though. Stands his ground. Well done, McAdam, to rip it off him. Suddenly, St Kilda finds something. Kick it. You get the feeling the Saints are mounting to Daniels. Lockett's in the square. Daniels goes with a wobbly one. Big Tony in the front spot. Play on called. Is that deliberate?
That is deliberate.
Free kick to Lockett in the pocket. Get the feeling, Tim, a St Kilda goal here could turn the whole match around.
Yes, they're starting to run, and they're starting to win the ball around the pack, St Kilda, and they're starting to move the ball down the field.
Devonport on a lead. Crediuk did well not to interfere. Campbell with an opportunity. Panicked a little. Kicked it very quickly. Grant, who had to be taken from the ground in the first half. Daniels. The handball was okay. Ralph Smith tries to shrug a tackle. Takes a long time, runs out of play. A throw in at half forward. But at least St Kilda in attack into the breeze. It's 26-65.
Because they seem to have regained some sort of composure, St Kilda. They panicked in the second quarter, but now they seem to have settled down a little bit, and Footscray seem to be a little bit shaky.
Oh, a flying kick by Lowe. Knocked out of the hands of Ralph Smith. They've got to get some run out of Robert Harvey. Here's Bowie. Bowie trying to get onto the left foot. Brings it in towards the half-foot line. McAdam. He might be a little bit too far out. He's got a kick from 40 metres. Well, we saw in the second term a couple of the Footscray players make the distance from there. On this side of the ground, Gilbert McAdam. Gee, this would lift them if he could put it through. The pressure on him from 40 metres. Not solid footing as he kicks. It's not a bad looking kick. It starts to swing. I don't think enough. No. Just didn't come back enough. And a look of disappointment on his face, but at least they look a better side now as looking on Terry Wheeler and former champion fullback Rick Kennedy.
Still a long way back, isn't it, at 4-3 to 10-5 on a day where goals are difficult. Campbell attacks by going straight down the centre to Coleman. A good thump away from Grant. Harvey can go for goal. Drop punt, sizes it, kicks it. Well, the Saints are alive now. They're back in with a sniff at 5-3 to 10-5.
So you can really feel the momentum shift in this game. Harvey's been quiet. A great bit of crowing then from him. And you've got Winmar starting to get into the play. McAdam starting to run. And St Kilda looking a much better combination in this third quarter.
of a sudden the Saints have lifted. They're back in with some chance now. Liberatore gets out of centre, brings it to the half-forward line. One-on-one contest. Morris, experience, goes to the line, and he disguised that very, very well. It would have taken a brave umpire to have paid that for deliberate, but he did it well. His experience, and that showed out. And that other goal to Harvey down the other end started from disciplined play by Grant to thump it forward when he could have been tempted to go for the mark. Here's Steve Wallace lying over the ball. Umpire calls play on, and it will be a bounce.
32-point margin as Harvey has had 11 and 5. Newport and Fletcher on the interchange. Newport reasonably successful in the first half as a tagger, but a change in emphasis from Ken Sheldon this half. Grant bursting away, but not before Grant Vernon had blown his whistle. Sun shining through on a very difficult day for good football. The last finals match for this season at Waverley. Winmar. Grant caught, good tackle. Ball up at centre half forward.
So they were a bit lucky on that occasion. Winmar didn't realise that there was a player breathing down his neck. He went towards the centre of play, a very dangerous place to be with the Footscray players about to sweat on him.
Vidovic won the tap. Greg tries to burst his way through. Wallace's quick kick. And well played there by Shanahan. He's done all right on Delray. Delray kicked a spectacular goal in the opening quarter.
Delray hasn't played a great part in this game. Shanahan, who of course shut Peter Dacos out of the game last week.
Vidovic and Coleman. Coleman takes it out of the air, gets a quick kick. Here's Grant, good tackle though, holding the footy. Free kick to Morris in the back pocket.
Yes, it's important that Russell Morris contains Grant. Grant is a star in the first half. He had... And the youngster, Michael Frost, is warming up on the boundary line for Footscray. They might be forced to use their first interchange soon. Socket off the ground by Callett. Here's Corcoran. Shannon Corcoran from centre wing brings it into half forward. Vidovic in the hole, and he goes back to take the mark. And he's another one of the greatly improved players. On to Dean Gregg. Gregg kicks it wide. They've got some run here. Will it sit for Bowie? He waits. He's got it. Bowie kicks long to the half-forward line. Dale Kickett using the body. He goes to ground. Still Dale Kickett. Well played, Dale Kickett. He's dodging, weaving. Gets in a hand pass. He's got backup support from Daniels. He's lost it to Steve Wallace, though. And Wallace kicks it to the half-forward line with David Grant. Races back in desperation to take the mark. They've lifted the Saints, no doubt about that.
Kolonyuk off, and Frost has come on. Here's Harvey in the corridor. Tries to break the Kellett tackle. Daniels goes to ground. Play on call. Footscray rip it off St Kilda. Kellett's left-hand handball. Try to half-volley McPherson. Coleman clever. Off the ground. Gains 40 metres. Attacking at Greg. Only as far as Chris Grant. Sidesteps once. Chips it beautifully to Hawkins. Here's a goal. Handball over the top. Delray through. Easy as you like. 11-5-5-3, and it all started in the centre square when Footscray turned it over.
Yes, well, it started back at centre half forward for St Kilda when Kickett really should have, rather than trying to control the ball and do something himself, he should have knocked it out. They had the numbers at that situation, and Footscray rushed the ball forward, and then Dean Gregg tried to kick the ball off the ground. He should have picked the ball up, making sure of it, kicked the ball straight back to Grant, and the St Kilda defence was offside.
A steadier for the Bulldogs, 11-5 to 5-3. It's still a terrific lead as Winmar. He's had a terrific turn to the half-forward line. Tui goes to ground, push in the back, says the umpire. And a free kick to Bernard Tui at half-back. Tui brings it to the half-forward line. Should be a St Kilda mark. Oh, no, it's dropped. It allows Liberatore in. On to McPherson, who bombs it in long. Out they come, and a good mark this time taken by Dean Gregg, playing in front. Made a bad mistake a minute ago, and he should have picked the ball up. He brings it to the half-back line. Vidovic, he's outmarked. A beautiful mark in front by Darren Baxter.
Yes, he should have gone for the punch then. He's got to bring the ball to the ground when he's caught behind like that.
Baxter way out at half-forward. He's going to kick in short. The lead is on Danny Del Rey. No mark. Umpire called play on. Tim Pekin trying to pick it up. He's looking for the hand pass. It's a good one too. He's found Mick Dwyer. They're looking to create a loose man. There's no one leading for him. In towards half forward, Stewie Lowe in front of the pack. Couldn't mark. Here's McAdam. Oh, great play, McAdam. The dangerous Devonport. He could have a shot for goal from 50 metres. He bombs it in. Oh, I think he's kicked it. Yes. Craig Devonport now playing on the forward line has kicked 2 and the Saints won't lie down. They're moving on to 6-3. Footscray, 11-5.
Once again, that's Gilbert McAdam, who's been shifted up across the centre line. He's been involved in a number of passages of play in this third quarter. And Devonport, who's definitely a forward, creating for St Kilda up there too.
3 goals to 2 in this third quarter into the breeze by the Saints. Mounting their challenge for the day. Vidovic went to go off the ground, saw a St Kilda player run across in front of him and checked his kick, and he's just hurt himself a bit, and that player was that man there who's had a tremendous influence on this third quarter.
He's lifted them, hasn't he, Winmar?
15 and 4 he's had. Vidovic won the tap. Atkins, well played. Daniels just kept it in. Liberatore Dwyer, and again a ball up.
He's a very hard player, Daniels. He's always in their eyes, always for the ball, and sometimes just a guy attacking the ball like that can create some sort of an advantage for your side.
Liberatore, oh, clever. Atkins, well played to Wallace, who sweeps it to Mansfield, who should give it to Grant, and does with a precise kick at half forward. Well, they've had the answers, Footscray, and if they get the next goal, you feel that the Saints will be too far back. A great kick to Hawkins. And that all started with Liberatore winning the hard ball out of the centre.
Yes, he did the hard work in the centre. It was interesting. And then when Wallace had the ball, he sized it up and gave it to Mansfield, who he knew was a left foot kick and the best option.
Well, he's missed a couple today, Dougie. He's normally so good. Drop punt. It's a good-looking kick coming back strongly. It's a goal. That's a captain's goal. Dougie kicks his second. And, Tim, every time the Saints raise the hopes of their supporters, Footscray has the answer.
Yes, they're doing very well in that department, Footscray. We saw Credic just come off the ground and Stansfield coming onto the ground. He appeared to be injured, Credic, so let's hope it's nothing serious. But Footscray have had the answers in this quarter, and St Kilda are playing a lot more committed football, but maybe they've let that lead get away far too much in the first half.
Centre backs, very, very important. That quick kick was by Frost to the half-forward line. McPherson shuffles it out. Oh, free kick to McAdam. He was caught high, and he's worked hard in this term too. But they have to be within 3 or 4 goals at three-quarter time, I would think. To the half-forward line, low. Oh, geez, been disciplined there. Keenan Reynolds. Mick Dwyer, very skillful player on the left foot. Oh, Lockett caught behind Campbell here. Campbell will take this to the line. Disguised it well, but his intention was to get it over the line.
What's the situation with Credic, Bernie Quinlan?
Yes, Bruce, well, Steve Credic has a problem with the left hamstring. The physiotherapist has applied ice. He doesn't appear to be too good. In a bit of pain there, Steve Credic. I don't think we'll see much of him throughout the afternoon now, Bruce.
So they might be down to 19, Footscray. Winmar trying to barge his way through.
He's hurt his shoulder then, I think, in that clash. I think he's hurt. That's disaster.
And St Kilda making a change. They're putting Morris back onto Del Rey, and they've brought Shanahan out onto Chris Grant.
Dips the shoulder, bang.
He's running into a Stanfield hip and shoulder now. Winmar off the ball, as you can see, in real sorts of trouble. It's the man who's sparked the Saints' mini revival. Wines kick out the centre wing. Coleman and Grant. Grant and Coleman just hanging off him. Well played, David Grant. He's done a couple of good things in this term after being beaten in the first half. Wine getting back. And Lowe looking for a free, and against him for holding the footy.
Winmar coming off.
Yes, I've just been keeping my eye on him, Peter. What a blow this is for St Kilda. They're a real playmaker in this term. Part of the engine room with Harvey, and are now going off the field.
Bernard Tui, right out the centre wing. I think that's out in the full, it is. And that is a blow because he's been their best player in this term. I think he's done his collarbone, I would think, here. Yes, hip and shoulder. Oh, he was the meat in the sandwich, wasn't he, Tim?
Yeah, he might have popped his shoulder, I think.
Now there's Lowe. push in the back. Stewie Lowe. Got to get the ball. Wine's gone back to man up on Lockett. That's good thinking by the big man. Now Lockett's a chance here as he comes from behind, thumps at the ground. Atkins. Well done by Atkins on the Campbell. Campbell the clearing kick. Fletcher waits underneath it. It bounces nicely for him. Adrian Fletcher, former Geelong player. A wobbly kick to the half-forward line. Ralph Smith pushing and shoving. Mopping up, though, is Stephen Wallace.
He's done that very well today. Tui sweeps it out wide to Corcoran. Has McPherson wide. Goes out that way. McPherson in front of Peake and Clever. He's had some nice touches today, McPherson.
He's been good.
Centering kick. Del Rey the target, outnumbered. Morris goes for it. Atkins read it beautifully. Sets it up. Wallace goes for goal in the square. Hawkins at the back, waits and kicks his third. Dougie, it's all too easy. Look at that. The most famous of the Bulldogs has a big smile, and that might be it.
So that was sheer class there by Hawkins, wasn't he? He just read the ball so well. He knew that it was carrying with the wind behind it, and Greg should have taken the mark. Oh.
Handy break as we go down to the boundary line. What's the report on Nicky Winmar, Gerard Healy?
Terrible news, I'm afraid, Peter, for Saints supporters and football supporters. They believe initially it's a dislocated left shoulder. He won't play any further part in this game and probably for the rest of the finals if they get up.
Well, that's shocking news for St Kilda as Atkins. Del Rey, no mark. Oh, his teammate got in the way then, I think. Jamie Shanahan hooks it back to the centre of the ground. Coleman's got two to beat. Atkins, hip and shoulder. Bit of ball fighting going on. Del Rey and I think it's Russell Morris having a real punch up behind the play. There they are. They've thrown a few as the kick comes to David Grant at half, but they're still going on with it behind the play. And someone will have to come in and adjudicate on that one. Fletcher, back to Nathan Burke. They need a couple of goals before three-quarter time. Fletcher caught, gets in a hand pass. They're trying to over-finesse. Tapped on by Wine. That was good deliberatory. Atkins starting to come into the game. Hawkins. Oh, over the back. Dougie Hawkins waits for the ball. Here's another one coming up. Hawkins. Oh, great play by Hawkins. Unselfish as he kicks it to Danny Del Rey.
Yes, well, there are holes everywhere in that St Kilda defence as Footscray moved the ball forward. Atkins really should have given the ball off to McPherson in the first place going into the corridor. He elected to go wide. But Dean Gregg, I think we've just got to shift Dean Gregg away from Dougie Hawkins. He's not a defender. He's not a backman at all, Dean Gregg. Be much better suited to the midfield.
Danny Del Rey from directly in front will kick for his third. And he's gone. So there's a happy Terry Wheeler, relieved Terry Wheeler. 14-5 the Dogs to St Kilda 6-3.
So I wonder how long St Kilda can keep Dean Gregg on. Dougie Hawkins, a very clever player, Dougie Hawkins, and even now I think perhaps Sean Ralph Smith is going back onto Hawkins and Gregg's coming up the ground.
Well, a few missed there. Frost. Mansfield to centre wing, and just suddenly you feel as if with Winmar going off the ground and those goals by Hawkins and now Del Rey that the Saints season is gone. Grant played that well with a half volley. Often doesn't give the reflex handball. Frost, free kick.
Yes, you're right, Bruce. He does try and hold on to the ball too long on occasions.
So Frost from centre wing. Well, the Saints mounted a challenge and they've got to now try and lift themselves against all the odds. Here's McPherson. Been around for a long time, not quite as long as this man. Hawkins started in 1978 and still going strongly. Atkins goes to ground, gets a free kick. Well, it's made a difference without the Newport tag, hasn't it, to Atkins?
Yes, he's found space in this third quarter.
He's relished the freedom. Now Hawkins was very short, screaming for it. Atkins is going to go for it. Tries a torpedo off the side of the boot and not effective. Twine just chips into a space to take the mark and gives it off to McAdam.
We're nearly at the 5-minute mark to go in this third term. Something has to happen for St Kilda. There's Wine. No mark, the umpire said. And he will come in and bounce, and eventually he's paid the free kick.
Yes, Stewie Lowe went straight into his back.
Wine, geez, made a difference to this side. Just the fact he's there competing and with his height. Keenan Reynolds done a magnificent job on Lowe. And 50 metres. 50-metre penalty on Bernard Toohey will take him to 40 to 35 metres from goal, directly in front. What do you think of that one, Tim?
Well,
let's have a look.
What I would like to say is that St Kilda...
He thought he was going to play on. You could see that, couldn't you?
St Kilda are a real chance to develop into a rabble in this situation.
Bernard Toohey, well, we'll have absolutely love having a shot for goal. The half-back. He's kicked goals before, and I think he's kicked this one. Yes. So Bernard Toohey from the half-back line kicks his first, and Footscray streak away 15-5 to 6-3.
I don't think that was a 50-metre penalty. It's a big penalty, that, isn't it? To brought the ball from almost a wing position to within kicking distance.
(15-5, 6-3). St Kilda out of the centre by Greg Lowe, with him Reynolds, and a free kick now going to kick it at centre half forward. Toohey on the mark. It's only his second goal for the year, Toohey. He was a leading goal scorer one season at the Sydney Swans. Devonport, good mark.
I have seen Craig Devonport in a couple of games kick 5 goals in a quarter at times for St Kilda. It amazes me why they don't use him up forward more often.
Gerard Healy made the point at half-time that he's not a defender, he's a forward, and he's vindicated that.
Remember one night at the Wacker against the West Coast Eagles.
And then Troy Ugle turned it around in the last quarter.
That's right.
Well, the Saints trail 6-3 to 15-5. Devonport has kicked 2 goals in this term. This is from 40 metres out. Drop punt. He's got the distance all right. It's just going away at the end for a behind. Not an easy kick into the breeze. And when you look at the board, it just seems an impossibility now for St Kilda to get back into the match.
Footscray being magnificent again in this quarter. They've answered all challenges.
Must be a horrible feeling for a footballer when you're just so far down and there's very little chance of a victory. A free kick there to Stanford at centre half back. Sat on the interchange for the first half. Goes to centre half forward. Coleman. Going early was Grant. Frost. Atkins, who's been significant in this term, to Kellett, who takes Daniels on. That's confidence. Keeps it in, no, just out of the end. It did run out. A bit stiff. It's a good move by Kellett, who's been a little quieter today. Had a big first half last week before Simpson turned him inside out in the second.
He actually is a very dangerous player. Kellett can kick long goals. There's Frost, a left footer. Ooh, socketed off the ground. Harvey. Now McDwyer. A quick kick. Baxter waits for it. Here's McAdam. Goes to ground. The ball underneath him. The umpire will come in and bounce. 2.5 minutes to go till 3/4 time, and one would think almost an impossible task for St Kilda. They'll have to make up 10 goals in the last term to win the match. Here's Kellett. Real turn up this, although St Footscray have defied the critics all year. As we see Daniels, Devonport, clever. Lockett, he's got no backup support up there. Campbell and Lockett, socket off the ground by Campbell across the face of goal. Toohey will just trickle this over, you can bet on that. Oh, well, in disguise, although it's still, it went straight over the line, Bernard Toohey, but he made it look as if he was trying to keep it in, of course.
He had one thought on his mind then, didn't he?
Yes, out of play, and he won it. Keenan Reynolds at the back. Loose ball, Dwyer, left foot, and that's out on the full. Hasn't had an impact today, McDwyer, as he did last week. But he's got some mates. He's not the only one. Robert Harvey's had 11 and 7, but nothing like the match he had last Saturday. Just said, Peter, Footscray this season just keep defying the critics. You think they're down and out, and they bounce back. And they've done it emphatically today. It's been a really outstanding effort. Campbell to half-back, no mark paid. Burke's quick kick back to centre half forward. Dwyer in the front spot, claiming a mark, not paid. Here's Lowe, sweeps a handball. McAdams worked hard in this quarter. Caught, kick quick by Baxter. Kellett having a good 5 or 6 minutes. Daniels with him, and very happy to see it run out of play. A minute remaining in the third quarter, and the margin is 55 points.
Well, they must get a goal here before three-quarter time, the Saints. We have seen sides get a run on and kick 10 or 11 goals. There's almost a great mark. McAdam, he's trying hard. Carlton kicked 11, I think, in one quarter against St Kilda out at this ground. There's Lowe to Greg. Now he's got to look for Lockett. Brings it in towards Vidovic at the back. Vidovic, is that a mark? No. So it will be a bounce about 35 metres out from the Saints' goal.
Dean Gregg's looked a different player since he went up onto the ball. He's had a number of possessions already in the midfield.
20 seconds remaining. The Saints, well, they need this one and a lot more straight after three-quarter time. 95-40. Nathan Burke, quiet today, 9-2. No real effect on the game. Wind and Vidovic against one another. Well played, Atkins. What a term he's had. He's had 11 and 11 now, 22 touches. And the siren sounds. And after what was a promising start to the second half, turned into a disaster for St Kilda. And at three-quarter time, Footscray lead 15-5 to 6-4. Half forward. Start of the final term. 15-5, 6-4. Well, can the Saints do something heroic here? Pull a miraculous win out of the fire. Wine did well against Vidovic to smother it. Now it's Grant, who's had half a dozen stitches at three-quarter time. Lowe missed what would have been a hard one. Hawkins, who's playing loose in defence, goes wide to Kellett. Loose man running is Frost. Kellett saw him, got it on quickly. It should sit, it does. McPherson presents himself at half forward. Frost with a very good kick towards Del Rey. Daniels interesting back there with some run. Quick handball. Morris to centre half forward. Low in the front spot. Vidovic played it as a rover. Got a quick kick away. Devonport used his body cleverly, but Mansfield was able to overcome that and then was tripped and takes a free kick at half back.
Matthew Mansfield, a left footer. Good honest player, Mansfield. As he kicks it to centre wing. Morris appealing for the free kick. Kellett, a quick kick straight to Daniels. Interesting move to put him in defence. Good kick too for Daniels. To Mick Dwyer, they've got to get it moving to Lockett as quickly as they can. There's the kick. Here comes Lockett. Oh, good use of the body, but the Footscray defence did it pretty well. Here's Devonport, who looks a much better player up in the forward line. This time he loses it though. Mansfield, goes straight to the line and puts it over. Disguised it well. It'll be a throw-in halfway between centre wing and half forward, and there's Steve Newport, a very disconsolate looking Steve Newport.
Devonport should have done a lot more with that ball. He was in, as he went down to pick the ball up, I think he was contemplating what he was going to do with it when he got it, and then didn't even pick the ball up.
Tui, Coleman well played, and then McPherson improvising. Oh, lovely take, Grant. Probably should have gone inside. Went the wrong way in the end. Shanahan, and out of play. McPherson was inside for Grant there.
Yes, he should have gone towards McPherson, but they wouldn't be too unhappy with the result now with the ball over the boundary line. And Footscray will be happy to see that ball go over the boundary line as many times as it possibly can in this final quarter.
Playing for a spot in the preliminary final. Would love another crack at Geelong at some stage. Harvey swoops on it. Finds a passage and some space as he's done so often this year. McAdam, who was pretty useful in the third quarter. Back to Harvey. This is what the Saints have been looking for. Harvey to have a dominating period. Kick it. In the end, sidestepped nobody. Vidovic. Bowie went to ground. Burke and Atkins over the top of it. A loose ball. Burke went for it hard. Kellett tapped it out to Frost. The give was back to Greg. Frost tries to break a tackle. Umpiring allowing it to go on. Greg gets a quick kick away towards centre wing.
Oh, good mark. Oh, I thought Harvey had taken that mark, but he didn't quite hang on to it long enough. Tui locks it in, and it'll be a bounce.
That was magnificent play from Simon Atkins a moment ago. He just ran hard and straight at the ball, caused a fumble, and Footscray almost went forward into attack and all from some wonderful, committed football.
Here's Callett tapping it towards the line. That's all they'll have to do with Footscray, is keep forcing it to the boundary lines. Well done by Kickett. Now, is that out in the full? No. Boundary umpire says it's a throw-in. So they've got all the time in the world to just play it defensively around the boundary line. Coleman. Callett goes to ground. Was a push in the back? I think so. And the umpire says exactly that. So Nigel Callett will take it way out on centre wing.
Drop punt to half forward. Chris Grant the target. Shanahan hanging on. He's been a factor all day, Grant. No question about that from the very first term. Now Delray provided an early lead.
So there's nothing there to kick to now.
Now Delray goes again. Grant goes for him to centre half forward. Delray with one hand. McAdam at the back goes to ground. It slides away from him. Rouse Smith quickly back to Grant. Big stats for a half forward on a day like today. Now Wallace. He'll remember his 200th with some pleasure. No question about that. A chip one to Corcoran. McAdam spoiled cleverly. Grant comes away from the back pocket. Bowie started on the interchange. Has found it difficult to get into it. Greg put him under a bit of pressure. Back to Burke. They're losing some ground though. Devonport at centre wing. Little give by Stanfield to Mansfield. Hawkins always seems to have time. Now Baxter from the centre.
A wobbly kick from Darren Baxter, but it'll come off because young Michael Frost has got it. He's looking for Atkins. Atkins cleverly back to Coleman. Coleman chips it in towards full forward. A race in at the ball. Well played by Grant. On to Frost. Here's danger because Delray. No, he's caught with the ball. Harvey, a good tackle. Taken by Ralph Smith. Ralph Smith on the left foot has found Pekin. They just got to move it. The forward at all cost. A bad hand pass allows Steve McPherson in. Oh, he didn't have the ball. Free kick to McPherson. Poor tackle by Daniels. And he can chip it to Wallace if he kicks it now. Wallace in the hole, and he's found him. Poor checking by the Saints. It's not their day.
No, Harvey, who's Wallace's immediate opponent, was caught up near the action, and Wallace drifted off back down towards goals, hoping that there would be a turnover and that he would be the spare man. And that's exactly what happened.
Steve Wallace in his 200th game. He's been a terrific player for Footscray. Came up through the under-19s. There's the kick from Wallace. Not a bad looking kick. I think it's a goal. Yes. So Stephen Wallace has kicked his first. Footscray kicked their 16th. 16-5, plays 6-4.
And as we saw early in this game, the St Kilda players been very indecisive when they have the ball. Once again, this final quarter, they've reverted back to that early style of play, and they really have been disappointing today.
The Bulldogs have mastered the Saints for the third time this season. Greg Morris has to concede some ground. Back to Greg. Tries a torpedo punt, doesn't really get onto it. Lowe gets a free kick. But I don't think Reynolds will worry too much at this stage. He's had the better of one of the big jewels, Kenny Sheldon.
And he might be booking his Fijian holiday, I think, Bruce.
Well, Lowe goes for goal. Lockett goes early and takes a magnificent mark.
That was a good mark, wasn't it?
Well, he's come down with a crash. It was a magnificent fly and grab by the big man.
So I felt the stand shake when he did hit the ground on that occasion. Huge leap for such a big man, standing on Dougie's shoulders.
Talk about bone jarring. Captain against captain for a moment. Scott Wine coming off and Collingwood coming back on. Wine has been tremendous. Obviously, he'll be saved now for next week on the preliminary final.
Well, Footscray have got that luxury now of resting players, and they can look towards the preliminary final week next week. They've been magnificent today, and I, for one, didn't think that they were good enough.
Well, he's kicked 131 for the season. This for 132. It's a personal best performance in a year by Tony Lockett. But that's a poor reward really. He won't be worried about his individual performance. It's the team that counts. He's given it a hook and he's missed it. Well, he nearly knocked himself out with one of the great marks. And 6-5, 16-5. You can see he's still hurting, isn't he?
Yes, he came down with an almighty thud.
Wouldn't be at all surprised if he's got slight concussion after that.
Yes, you might be right, Bruce. And Dougie Hall, there's Frost, a big fly, and has been paid. And he's a pretty lively customer, isn't he?
Yes, this fellow can play football.
Well, Frost gives it off to Hawkins. He's always good in the crisis. Dougie Hawkins to the hug. Grant, the flyer, gave away a free kick. He pushed out first.
It's almost as if the players are going for the award of Mark of the Day in this last quarter, isn't it?
Well, we need some for Sports World tomorrow to have a look at, as we see Russell Morris. Nice looking kick to the half-forward line. Fisted away Keenan Reynolds. He's been a disciplined player. Devonport caught by Mansfield, and the umpire said he had no chance of getting rid of it. It'll be a bounce.
It's a great reward for a guy like Keenan Reynolds. Started his career at Essendon in the under-19s, moved up to the reserves, couldn't get a game in the seniors at Essendon, and he's one of those young fellows who work particularly hard, and it's a great reward now for him to play in this finals, this winning finals team for Footscray, and also to do such a good job on low.
Coleman's free kick. What an interesting path he's had also over the years, Glenn Coleman. Not a good kick that time. Shanahan. 59,512 people here today. Morris.
Look at that forward line. It's just jam-packed with Footscray players.
Goes high and long, just hoping for low. Gives away a free kick, surely, to Stanfield.
He's had a shocker, Stewie Lowe, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a disappointing end for what's been a most successful season. Fell away a little in the second half, but was tremendous last week. Hawkins goes short to Coleman. And, well, everything's gone out of the game now. The sting, the pace. Very little for St Kilda here. Grant, centre wing, just pushed away his opponent, Shanahan.
He's been consistent, hasn't he? He's played almost 4 good quarters of football. The first time this year that I've seen him actually put it all together.
Liberatore, again short to Kellett.
They're just playing keepings off. Footscray.
Possession footy, Peter. They're making a lead and they're kicking at 20 metres. Now Baxter short. They're going to go again
Look
here.
at this. It's just chipping 20-metre kicks. Like a soccer side, they're protecting one goal. But almost impossible for St Kilda to get back in this. Grant was that in the back. Daniels, Collingwood. Play on calls the umpire. Socket off the ground by McPherson. That was Ralph Smith getting the ball to Greg. Greg bombs it towards centre wing, but waiting underneath it is big Glenn Coleman. He plays on to Hawkins. Oh, look at Doug. He's like a general out there around half back. On to Khaled, who can kick long. Look at that kick. Booming kick into McPherson. McPherson underneath. A chance for Shanahan to break the tackle. Gives it to Harvey. Harvey to McAdam. On to Greg. And away they go, the Saints.
To Burke. Neat drop punt to kick it at centre half forward.
He's got to get the ball on quickly.
Lockett calling for it again, short. Morris has made some ground. Hawkins stops and props on him though cleverly. Morris short to centre half forward, finds Vidovic.
That's good play then by Morris.
Well, the Saints without a goal with the breeze in this term. And you look back on this game and it was that magnificent second quarter into the breeze by Footscray, where they conjured up some marvellous moments with Grant and Liberatore leading the way, and Vidovic to go for goal from centre half forward, the drop punt, and he scored. Goal to Vidovic, and one to St Kilda, but too little too late. 7-5, 16-5.
That goal came on the end of probably the most positive movement of the ball down the field so far this game for St Kilda. They moved the ball down with a number of handballs and good position to play, and then Morris laying the ball off then to Vidovic.
A little bit of consolation for the Saints, that goal to Vidovic. They'll probably try and make their scoreboard a lot more respectable. There's Bowie, was grabbed when he didn't have it. Now Mick Dwyer from 60 metres into Lockett. Lockett at the back, marks and goals. So big Tony Lockett has kicked 4. The Saints kicked their 8th, but they're still 8 goals behind.
Lockett using his big frame once again in the absolute best position with the ball coming with the aid of a breeze, and one would have to say that it's too late for St Kilda to get back into this game.
4 to Lockett, that's half of St Kilda's 8. Coleman doing the ruck work, Wine taken off the ground. Atkins just punched it forward off the ground by Frost, who's made a contribution since coming on. Pekin has had a quiet one to Greg, to Burke. Getting some touches in the last quarter. Not a particularly good kick. Stanfield.
See, that's a poor kick.
Corcoran had Wallace very wide. Goes directly towards Grant. Shanahan was at the back. Now Nathan Burke, who's picking up some stats in this last quarter. That's a better kick. Looked out and found Morris at centre half back. Swings it to Greg. In the centre square. Goes with a long one. Low is the target. Big fly by Stewie at the back. Didn't quite get to the fall of it. Backs to slick handball. Put Mansfield under pressure. Bowie goes for a long one. Lockett the target. Lockett and Campbell. A wrestling match. It bounces for a goal. 3 goals in 2 minutes. Don't get your hopes up yet, Saints. They need a couple more in the next 2 minutes. 9-5, 16-5.
Well, putting some respectability back on that scoreboard, and Doon Greg has looked a much better player since he's gone back into his rightful position in the centre of the ground. He looked all at sea down there at full back, or in the back line on Dougie Hawkins, and he's given St Kilda a lot of drive in the midfield.
And that was also good play by Lockett to use his strength to allow that to bounce through. A couple of quick goals would liven the crowd up, of course. I still think it's just too far behind. They are Liberatore to the half-forward line.
Oh.
Grant versus Shanahan. Shanahan battled hard. Oh, he's almost caught to the ball, McAdam. McPherson loses it. Pekin, he loses it in the tackle. Socket off the ground. Corcoran. Well done by Corcoran. On to McPherson. Oh, good kick. Delray, no mark, but here's a goal. Kick by Grant. So Chris Grant kicks his 5th, and that is definitely shut the gate as Brian Royal looks on.
Yes, and that was indicative of the way Footscray have played today. When that ball hit the goal square, there was 3 Footscray players there to 1 St Kilda player, and Grant, who worked very hard to get down there. Shanahan was way back at centre half back, a long way off his man, and Footscray, you would have to say, have got this game well and truly sewn up.
Barry Stanfield looks on. 12 minutes remaining, 17-5 to 9-5. It's great kicking, isn't it, in these conditions by Footscray. Harvey, Morris threw it away, no question about that. Frost, it's been very good. He's played his way, you'd think, into the preliminary final. Grant, Greg, well, we've talked about his impact since he's gone into the centre. McAdam to centre half forward. Hawkins, the general, Peter McKenna called him a moment ago. Coleman, well, he's got a long time to think about it. Half-back, goes up to centre wing. Collingwood sits and waits. Daniels goes for it. Collingwood then contests. Frost, well, free kick surely. Greg all over the top of him.
That was great play again by Frost and Bruce to get there and actually force a crumb, and then to follow up and get the ball, and then wind up with the free kick.
Came into the 20. There's a late change. Went through McPherson's fingers. Pekin's handball put Daniels under a lot of pressure. That was better. Harvey, Dwyer, Grant, better play by St Kilda. Long and looking for Low. Reynolds, well, he's done it well all day. A free kick that time.
He rested his hand on his shoulder then, and perhaps got a little bit of leverage by pushing off Stewie Lowe's shoulder.
Low without a goal today. And not too many ticks against the great centre half forward's name. Drop punt, and he hasn't done very well there. missed it badly.
Well, if you said before the game that Stuart Lowe would have one mark at this stage of the final quarter, you would have backed Footscray for sure, wouldn't you? As we see Campbell to the half-back line. There's Stewie Lowe. Oh, good mark. Stanfield coming across the front of the pack. Barry Stanfield, the boy from Fish Creek, rings it to centre wing. Mark to Corcoran. Shannon Corcoran. They've got a lot of good young players. There's Keenan Reynolds, who Tim spoke so highly about a moment ago. Jamie Shanahan, geez, battled hard. To the half-forward line, Devonport underneath this. Mansfield punches at the ground. Here's Nathan Burke. Around the corner he goes. He's looking to the half-forward line. It's all Footscray. Now it's Devonport. Well played, Devonport. Mansfield again. Always bumped by Vidovic. Hip and shoulder. Tui kicks wide. Off goes the racehorse Callett. Callett on the left foot looking for McPherson. Well played, Steve McPherson. Great use of the body. McPherson up towards Atkins and Del Rey. Who'll it sit for? It'll sit for Del Rey. He can tap it on. Here's Atkins. An open goal coming up here. Simon Atkins sprints in and puts it through. So Footscray, a great performance. Atkins has kicked 2. And the Bulldogs have moved on to 18-5 to St Kilda 9-6.
Well, Atkins has looked a different player in the second half since St Kilda dropped the tag at Newport. They really were forced into that situation. They had to get a lot more productivity in their centre line, their midfielders. But Atkins has been a wonderful contributor for Footscray, and Footscray continue to run right up to the final end.
53-point margin. It's been a massive win for Footscray. And suddenly they're back in this finals race with a bit of a chance. Corcoran around the body. I think most people had written them off after last Sunday. This has been a very big win. Coleman. Ralph Smith, Del Rey. Use of the body was strong. Well played, Ralph Smith. Shanahan was legged. Harvey hasn't stopped trying. He just hasn't had that touch of magic he's had in the past. Gregg's done all right in this term. Peakin's been quiet today. Devonport the target. Mansfield's been, well, very disciplined. Tui put Hawkins under pressure. Tui. He's played well today, Tui. He's been found out a couple of times this year with lack of pace, but today he's done very well.
Yes, I think that these conditions really suit Bernard Tui down to the ground.
Recruited to do a special job this year, and he has done pretty well for Footscray. There's Hawkins to McAdam at centre wing. Again, long and quickly. Low at the back this time. Reynolds in the front spot. Missed by Bowie. Stanfield just worried out of it in the end. Tui was in there hard. Burke goes in after it. Loose ball. Stanfield over the top. And Footscray holding it.
Well, that's dead right. He was held by the jump. He made no attempt to get it out.
Vidovic's free kick. Kicked a goal from a similar position about 6 or 7 minutes ago. So Stanfield and Tui were basically wrestling one another. Vidovic kicks his second. 10 goals to St Kilda. They've kicked 4 in this term, which is their best performance for the day, but it hasn't been enough. It's 18-10.
There's Stanfield and Tui tying that ball up, hoping for a quick whistle, but the umpire let it go and then deemed that they were in fact holding the ball.
Well, Vidovic has battled very, very hard. Now, someone has encroached into the centre square, and it was a St Kilda player, so the penalty kick will go to Barry Stanfield. Stanfield to the half-forward line. Coleman at the back, and chipping in across the front is Russell Morris. Morris went for the torpedo, but 9 times out of 10 in modern-day football they don't get onto them. That was Fletcher getting it to Harvey, in towards Lowe, and Lowe takes his second mark of the game. Stuart Lowe. Now let's hope he kicks a little bit better than his last shot. Lockett on the lead. And he goes back. Stewie Lowe kicks it goal, and I think he's finally kicked that one. He has, for a goal. So that's the big fella's first of the game. There's a very disappointed looking Kenny Sheldon, the coach of St Kilda, looking on. 18-5 to 11-6.
St. Kilda would be very disappointed with the way the Saints have played today. They've never been able to get more than 1 or 2 goals together and build up any momentum in this game, whereas Footscray have always threatened, and their work rate's been particularly good.
11-6, 18-5, Liberatore, free kick to him, held by Burke.
Burke's done a pretty good job on Liberatore as he's going on to him, though. Liberatore hasn't had the same possessions in the second half that he did in the first.
Centre square, goes to half forward, Grant on a lead. Oh, good mark. I guess if you're giving 3-2-1s, he'd be right at the top, wouldn't he?
It's 11 marks, 18 kicks, 7 handballs and 5 goals from centre half forward. That's a match-winning display, isn't it?
It's a tremendous performance. Short inside to Wallace.
This bloke's been good too.
Yes, 13-5 for Wallace, now 14-5 to Hawkins, who's also had a lot of possessions, over 20, and 3 goals for Dougie. He's kicked 39 for the year, Hawkins. It's a terrific contribution for a 32-year-old. Delray was at the back, good Mark Grant at the front. Always difficult when you've got to sit underneath it for a bit and then get some spring, and he's one of the best in the competition at doing that. Back to centre half forward. Vidovic crashed his way through Harvey. It was a good tackle by Wallace. Very fair, and Harvey was forced to go to ground.
What really has impressed me about Footscray today has been their hardness. A couple of times this year I've criticised them when I felt that they've buckled under extreme pressure, but today they've really come of age, and this Footscray side may go a lot further than most of us predicted.
Well, let's hope they do, because they were nearly out of existence a couple of years ago. As we see Mick Dwyer to the half-forward line, low again. Now he's too far out this time. He should get it down to Lockett quickly. Stewie Lowe should be moving it now. Lockett goes back to the square. Here he is, Lockett versus Campbell. Lockett bounces. I think it's a goal. Yes. So Lowe has kicked his second. And in the last few minutes, St Kilda making their score look respectable. 12-6. Plays 18-5.
See, I would have said that this is in the back against Lockett on that occasion. Maybe not looking at a replay, although Campbell didn't look all too happy about the treatment he got before the ball arrived. But another goal to the Saints.
12-6, 18-5. Atkins in the centre square. It's the sort of thing we expected to happen, that the Saints would get some goals when the sting had gone out. And Atkins would be pretty happy with his day. 12-13. Vidovic, missed by Dwyer. Bowie to Greg. Back to centre half forward. Oh, missed by Fletcher. Not easy. Hawkins had to get rid of it in a hurry in the end. McAdam. Harvey to Fletcher. Lowe, who's playing very much as a twin full forward late in the game. Kick it. Oh, high tackle, free kick.
Even on that occasion, though, Kickett's first thought always is to try and break that first tackle.
Drop punt, another one. So the Saints keep coming home with them. That's Kickett's first, and St Kilda in this last term has kicked 7 goals. 18-5, 13-6. They're just about 3 goals away from making it very interesting.
They'd have to be 3 very quick goals. As I said about Kickett, his first thought is always to try and break that first tackle, and I think he'd be a much better player for his side if his first thought was to get rid of the ball and to do something creative right from the outset.
Well, St Kilda gave far too big a start behind the 8 ball at three-quarter time. There's Atkins clearing it wide. Morris using his body well. He's got backup support from Jason Daniels. Here's McAdam, who has tried very hard, particularly since half-time, and that was a poor kick, though. Atkins took his eyes off it. That's Coleman to Collingwood. He went without it also. Collingwood again gets it to Wallace, to the half-forward line. Morris. Clever hand pass to Greg. Greg's, who's made a big difference in the centre of the ground, goes for the long kick. Oh, a strong clash. Here's Craig Devonport from 50 metres, and Devonport knocks through a great goal. Devonport has kicked 3, and St Kilda still fighting on in this final term. 18-5 to 14-6.
Yes, that was a Another movement downfield. The players have almost stopped for the walk. The Footscray players certainly have. And Fletcher going back courageously with the fly of the ball. Davenport, ever the opportunist, picking that one up. And there's only 4 goals of difference now, with 2 minutes and 58 seconds on the clock. Maybe we've sent St Kilda home far too early.
Doubtful, Tim, but they've raised some hopes, but just a little late. Frost towards half forward. Grant. Ralph Smith swings the handball to Morris. Chipped out beautifully by Frost. He's been excellent, hasn't he? Corcoran. Collingwood to run onto it. McPherson. Not a bad kick round the body. Shanahan's free kick against Grant. 2.5 minutes. 4 goals needed. Impossible. Gregg. McAdam. Dwyer running. I think every St Kilda fan is just wondering why this didn't happen an hour ago. To half forward. Hawkins clever. Coleman. Dwyer back to Gregg. Geez, had some touches. Atkins chipping in. Still Atkins. Davenport is kicked free. Goes for it. And Stanfield comes across and takes the mark at fullback.
Barry Stanfield. Now he's got a loose man at half back in Campbell. Campbell can kick it long. Another loose man. No one near him for 40 metres. Steve McPherson. Now he can touch it on the ground. We go again. Oh, he went a long way in towards half forward. Good mark, Danny Del Rey. Too far out from goal. Now he can chip it over to Baxter here. Baxter racing back with a fly to the ball. Darren Baxter controls it. Tries a shuffled hand pass. And eventually Robert Harvey takes it over the line. Right against the behind post, but all too late for Kenny Sheldon, and his season will be over. And like a typical coach, nothing but a premiership is a successful year.
Peeking at the top off Frost. Well done for goal. Gary Ablett. Oh, he's a good player, this kid. He's done very well, Frost. And 19-5 to 14-6.
Yes, Frost, he really can play, and he's been a good player for Footscray since he came off the interchange bench. Footscray not using their interchange bench until the second half, in that third quarter when St Kilda started to gain some momentum, and he's been a wonderful player for them.
19-5, 14-6. Atkins, Stanfield. And, well, I may be speaking too early, but in a way it's fitting that Footscray gets the last goal of this match, because they've been the dominant team without question.
Yep.
They've really won it when it counted early, and it's got a bit soft towards the end, and the Saints have taken advantage. They kicked 8 goals in this last quarter. They trailed 16-6 at one stage, and that was really an indication of the difference in the two teams. It's much more respectable now. Vidovic. Keller to centre half forward. Grant. And for the Saints, there's less than a minute of football left in this season. Well done, B. Coleman. The two Grants together. They were at the beginning of the match, but not for very long. Pekin to kick it. Burt clever to Morris. 10 seconds remaining. Awkward one. Fletcher couldn't. Oh, Hawkins, you're a little champion, Dougie. To Atkins. To Tui. To Frost. And that's it. Footscray is into the preliminary final. And as they've done all season, they've defied the odds. No question about that. They came here as 13-8 outsiders, and they put it to St Kilda emphatically in the first half. Dougie can hardly raise a gun at Peter McKenna, but there'll be all smiles as Scott Wine comes out, and suddenly they become a serious threat next week.
Well, the boys from the West, a lot of people didn't think they were good enough to even win a final. And here they are. They're going to play in the preliminary final. Big Tony Lockett, he battled his heart out. He kicked 4 goals, but Brett Bowie started on the bench. Mick Dwyer, Gilbert McAdam tried hard in the second half. There's Peter Hudson. And, well, he'd be shell-shocked. He and Kenny Sheldon, they would have expected to win this one, Tim.
Yes, they would have been very confident. I'm one of those people who didn't think that Footscray were good enough to win a final. And Footscray have got a real chance. Atkins played well today. Liberatore was good in the first half, but it's their young players, young Frost, as we go down to Bernie Quinlan out on the ground.
Well,
Terrific, Steve. Well done in the 200, but a really fit again for 200 today. Terrific
Just
game.
fantastic to win. You put all those things behind you, like 200. As we win these games, Footscray aren't in the finals too often, so we're going to make the most of it now, I tell you.
You had a tough task yourself today, picking up the dangerous Robert Harvey.
Oh, Robert's a great player. Like, he's probably one of the best in the league, and he does work hard, I tell you.
When did you know you had that job?
Early in the week, Terry said that I might have it, so yeah, it's worked out okay for us.
The approach this week, Steve, after that devastating 10-goal loss last week, how did the turnaround come about?
We just had to get back to the basics of hard play and run the game out. We played quite well in the first half last week. We had to put a full game to get today, and we did it. So, you know, it's great.
Set it up in that second quarter, 4-2 against the Breeze. How would you assess the Breeze today?
It was pretty blustery down to the left of the ground, and yeah, we made the most against the wind. We ran it up into the wind, and we've been working on that. We're used to it at the Western Oval, I suppose. Yeah,
well, it was a terrific win today, considering the 10-goal turnaround last week, after being, 34 points up against Geelong and then really giving it away, 15-3 in that second half. Terrible loss last week. They've really turned it around. A lot of spirit in this Footscray side.
Yeah, well, we're going into most of the finals as the underdog, and it's not a bad way to go, I reckon.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Steve. 200. You've got another chance next week. You might be in the grand final. Well done.
Thanks, Bernie.
Steve Wallace in his 200th game with Bernie Quinlan. So the final scores in the first semi-final, Footscray by 29 points over St.Kilda was 19-5 to 14-6.